What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Bold School of Commerce. I am your host, Michael Tracolo, Mike Tracolo, whatever you want to call me, you can call me that. We're here for Bold School of Commerce. For those of you who are new, or for those of you who are frequent viewers of us, Bold School of Commerce is an e-commerce lesson where we, just like an actual classroom, give you the tips, tricks, and tools that you need to know to become a better e-commerce entrepreneur, better businessman, better businesswoman, grow your following, make more sales, drive more traffic. I could go on. If there was a list, I would just keep reading because we just keep knocking these out. These are all the things that you want to know about, and these are all the things that we want to tell you about. This is Season 2, Episode 7. We're talking all about 4 ways that you can grow your Twitter following. So why we wanted to cover this one is Twitter sometimes gets a bad rap. You know, on one hand, it's very useful. It's excellent for connecting people all around the world. It's excellent for communicating. It's excellent for offering your opinions, sometimes even when it's not wanted. That being said, you know what? It's where people go to find information. What's trending, what people are talking about, and there's no way that anybody can actually deny that, because that's just where people seem to go to find out what we're talking about today. So that's exactly what we are talking about today. 4 ways that you can grow your Twitter following. As I mentioned, my name is Mike Tracolo. I am a social media guy here at Bold. I've been doing social media for as long as I can remember. Actually, that's not true. I can remember when I was like 4 or 6 and I wasn't doing social media then. With that being said, I've been doing social media for a while. I've dealt with bigger brands, small brands, medium brands. I deal with Bold, so I guess that gives me a little bit of clout. Maybe I know a little bit about Twitter. I guess we're going to find out. So, today's lesson plan, we're talking all about Twitter. What Twitter is, how people use it, why Twitter is a great platform, how you can actually grow your following with lists and with chats, which are all something that I'm very excited to talk about, and then how you can actually use Twitter to make you money. We'll be getting to that. We've got a free app called Social Autopilot, and it's completely free to use, and it's an excellent way for you to save some time and to get some time back by automatically tweeting for you whenever you have a new product or a new blog post, but we'll get to that a little bit later. And as always, just like an actual classroom, you're free to ask any questions that you may have throughout the entire presentation, throughout the entire lesson, whatever you want to call it. So we'll get right down into it, and first we'll just talk about what exactly Twitter is used for. So since, 2006, Twitter's become one of the biggest platforms where people go to find out what people are talking about, find out what's trending, voice their opinions, voice their concerns. If it's just really an open platform for people to say what's on their mind. So it's really important that you have a good Twitter strategy, or at least have a presence on Twitter, because if you're not controlling the conversation and controlling the message there, you're leaving that all up to your fans and your followers. And if you're not doing the best job, which we sometimes don't do the best job and need to make up for that, your fans and your angry fans will be controlling the message. And that's why Twitter is really so important. So why do people tweet? I think is something that's also important. The reason why people go on Twitter is to find out what's going on. But why people are tweeting is to connect with people all around the world. And I think that's one of the best parts about social media in general, is that I can sit here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and connect with somebody all the way across the world, halfway across the world, and have a discussion, have a conversation. Before social media, the only way to really do that would be, I guess, pen pals or sending letters. And that's not a really easy way to have a conversation, is to be sending letters back and forth. Whereas Twitter, it's instant action, it's instant conversation, and it's really great for you to build your audience and to grow your following. Number 2, as I mentioned, people go there to eat up the content. They go there to find out what's going on and just to consume content in general. It's a place where people go to discover what people are talking about, to reach out to different people, questions, comments, concerns, anything like that. So that's a really big reason why people tweet. And as I mentioned, we're talking about how to grow your following. I think one of the most important parts here is customer service. We've done a lot of School of Commerce episodes, we've written a lot of blog posts, just how important customer service is. Sorry, I forgot what the word was even there. The idea that if somebody has an issue or somebody has a problem with your service, with your brand, with your product, what's the first thing that most people do? Well, they tell their friends or their family about it. What's the next thing they do? They probably go on their social media. Heck, they might even go on their social media before that even happens to voice their concerns. So it's really a great place for you to either intercept people's concerns, to address them, to turn angry customers into brand advocates, and anything along those lines. So it's also a great place to find out what's being said about your business, about your industry, about your products, anything along those lines. We're all probably familiar with hashtags. As we go on in this lesson, we'll start at the ground floor and kind of go up a little bit more, just with the depth of how we're talking about Twitter. But hashtagging your company or hashtagging your product to find out what people are saying is an excellent way to actually find out where your customers are or what people are saying about you. It's a great way to test out new audiences. Using the advertising platform there, you can reach different people. You can reach specific people that you want to talk about. But that being said, it really has to do with having that two-way communication. The idea that someone can reach out to your company, get an instant response back, an instant answer to their question. I think that just speaks volumes for your brand and for your company, especially customer service. I want to tell you a story. I've heard this story along the lines of having to do with a coffee company. Now, it may or may not have been Tim Hortons. I'll just say Tim Hortons for the sake of the story. Here's what happened. Somebody had a terrible experience. The coffee was crap. It was too hot. They didn't get their bagel done right. Instead of an everything bagel, it wasn't not an everything bagel. Who knows, whatever it was. But they went on Twitter and they wrote their message in 140 characters or less. And they said, man, Tim Hortons is such a crappy company. I'm never getting coffee from them ever again. Tweet. And then they washed their hands of it. Now, what Tim Hortons did was they stepped in and they said, whoa, geez, we're sorry you had a terrible experience. What's your mailing address? We want to send you a gift card. We want to send you something to make up for this, to show you that we're that good of a company. This person was blown away. They got their gift card, and then they tweeted all about that. They're like, wow, this is the best company. I had an issue. They responded. They fixed it. They even sent me a gift card. And that just goes to show how good customer service can actually take an angry customer and turn them into a brand advocate. So it speaks volumes of just how important, excuse me, Twitter is to your customer service strategy and to your content strategy as well. So keep that in mind. What I want to talk about next, and I think most of you are looking most forward to, is how to grow your Twitter following. So there's 4 points here: customer service, Twitter lists, Twitter chats, and social autopilot. The Bold app that I mentioned earlier, completely free, allows for you to save time and automatically tweet out whenever you have a new product or a new blog post. It works great. We get a lot of positive reviews on it. We'll get to that a little bit later. We've checked off customer service. Now let's get into Twitter lists. So what are Twitter lists? Well, Twitter lists are an excellent way for you to stay organized. If you're not familiar how they work, we'll go over that shortly as well. But what they allow for you to do is essentially curate many different lists, many different groups, many different buckets of people, and have them in a ready available list. So you're already saving time. Let's say you've got hundreds of followers. Let's say you've got thousands of followers. Let's say you're following hundreds or thousands of people, or hundreds of thousands of people for that matter. It takes an incredible amount of time for you to go through and scroll and try and pick out the most important information there. However, if you have a Twitter list, you have all of the important people that you could want to get in touch with, the news that you're looking for, the industry that you're in, that you want to keep a good you want to keep on top of that. It's just a really, really great way for you to organize your feed and get to the people that you really want to talk to. So you'll take a look at the screen here, and what we have here is an image of Bold Commerce, our Twitter homepage. You'll notice at the top, if you just click on your avatar there, it takes you to the lists. You can click that, and all of a sudden it takes you to your list page. We've cut off a lot of here, but these are the lists that we're subscribed to, the lists that you're a member of. Some of them can be open to the public, some of them can be private. The private ones are really great for keeping an eye on your competition. That's one thing that's really important when it comes to marketing in general. It's always a good idea to keep an eye on the people that are in your industry, what they're doing, what they're talking about, and that way you can see what's working for them and adapt that to your strategy. So that being said, Twitter lists are an excellent way for you to stay organized. Let's say you're in the fashion industry, you follow the top 10 fashion bloggers. You follow anybody that maybe you've sold a product to. You can keep these lists, news, fashion, people you love to follow, people who engage with you. That way, instead of spending an hour going through your feed and not really getting too much out of it, you spend an hour on your feed directly going after the people that you want to. It's an excellent system to have in place that saves you time, and it's going to do wonders for you in the long run. That being said, it also allows for you to schmooze around with industry leaders in your field. If you start to create lists, they'll get a notification saying that they've been put on your list. It's a really cool way for you to be the ringleader of organizing those conversations. Having all these industry leaders together in one group, being a part of that, checking out other people's lists is something that I've done. That's a great way to see who people are following, and then you just go through that list, follow, making sure to check out first if they are, a good person to follow. You don't just want to follow for the sake of following. I think that's what bots do, and that just takes absolutely everything away from your credibility. An easy way to see that, and this goes across everything, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter for that matter. If somebody has 100,000 followers and only 7 people are commenting or liking on their content, it's a great way to see that that maybe those followers aren't as real as they may be. So it's fine not to have 100,000 followers. If you have a smaller group of people who follow you, your fans and your followers, but really high engagement, that's going to work wonders for you, and that's going to go a really, really long way. Number 2, great to connect with industry leaders and people who are doing a lot in their industry. It's a great way to stay on top of leads, stay on top of the news, stay on top of what's going on. It's also a great way for you to monitor what your competition is doing, what your competitors are doing, so that way you can see what's working for them and adapt to that and ultimately create a better content strategy for you. That being said, for those of you who are just tuning in, my name is Mike. We are talking all about Twitter today. How to grow your following, what people are tweeting about, what you should be tweeting about, how you can actually make more money on Twitter, and everything in between there. So we've talked a little bit about what people are tweeting, why people are tweeting. We've talked a little bit about Twitter lists. Now I want to get to something that's really cool. And this is something that it's almost, it's new to me. I've been participating in a few Twitter chats here, and let me allow for you to give a really good example. I'm a social media guy. I want to stay on top of what's trending and what's going on and what's cooking for social media in general. So what I do is I have a bunch of social media platforms and a bunch of social media people that I follow on my list, and I make sure to keep an eye on that, one of which is Social Media Today. Social Media Today does an incredible job of doing what we're talking about right now, and that are these Twitter chats. So what a Twitter chat is, it's an opportunity for you to participate in a conversation on Twitter with a group of like-minded people and answer questions, ask questions, and just really, talk about stuff. Have an engaging conversation, which is exactly what social media should be for. So the idea here behind a Twitter chat, which is something that I think you can walk away from, and this is a really great takeaway, anybody can do this, and it's essentially going to create 4 brand new pieces of content for you. Number 1, you're going to send an email out, obviously, hopefully, maybe not obviously, but you're creating and curating an email list. It's a really impactful way for you to be in touch with your consumers and your product and your customers, sorry. So you send them an email and you say, over the next 2 weeks, in the next 2 weeks, however you want to phrase it, we're going to be having a Twitter chat. Make sure to tune in on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be talking all about insert your title here. And make sure to use the hashtag that you come up with, so let's call it hashtag Twitter chat, to take part in that conversation. Then what you're going to do is you're going to promote that on social. You're going to say to your friends and followers, here's what's going down, here's when it's going to go down, make sure to follow this hashtag. Then when it comes to that day, you're going to post about it. And you're going to say, here are the questions that we're having, make sure to answer that question. So for example, here's just an example for you. The first question is, what's one of the best ways that you are that you're finding that's, let me rephrase that. What's one of the best ways to grow your Twitter following? Exactly what we're talking about. That's question 1, so it's called Q1. What's the best way to grow your Twitter following? Using the hashtag, you then answer that question by saying A1, answer that question, hashtag Twitter chats, boom. Now everybody participating in that Twitter chat is going to see your answer. They're going to be able to comment on that. They're going to be able to retweet that. They're going to be able to take that back to their team and say, hey, here's a really great idea. Then what you're going to do, let's say that lasts for about an hour. After that, what you're going to take that content, you're going to go through all those tweets, and you're going to turn it into a blog. A blog that you can then use to show everybody that participated in your Twitter chat, here are the top answers. Here's everything that we then talked about. And you can also use that blog to direct traffic about your next Twitter chat. So it's a really, really great way to repurpose your content, to show that you're an industry leader, to grow your community, and it's just one of those things. It's one thing for you to just to go through different hashtags and start following different people, but it's another thing for you to actually curate questions, ask these questions, to have a discussion with your followers. It's going to show your followers and the people in your industry that you're an industry leader. It's going to give people a really good understanding of what you do in your business, and it just goes a really, really long way to grow your community. So not everything necessarily is going to be helping you sell on Twitter, but it's definitely going to help you with your customer service, with your customers, with industry leaders of that nature, and anybody else that kind of has to do with your industry. That being said, so now that we've talked a little bit about Twitter lists, we've talked about Twitter chats, we've talked about how to grow your following, we've talked about how to set it up. For those of you that's just tuning in, we're live on Facebook, we're live on Crowdcast. This is Bold School of Commerce, an e-commerce lesson where we give you the tips, tricks, and lessons that we know absolutely everything about. We've done it, we've tried it, it's worked. Now we're sharing it with you. There's no catch here. There's no catch. We just want you to be more empowered, to be better entrepreneurs, to be better marketers, to be better in commerce, and everything in between. So that's why we do these lessons. This lesson is all about Twitter, ways to grow your Twitter following. We've talked about Twitter lists. We've talked about Twitter chats. What else have we talked about? We've talked about staying organized. Now what I want to talk about is an app that's actually going to be able to make you some money. So the app that we're talking about here, it's a Bold app. It's available in the Shopify App Store. It's called Social Autopilot. It's completely free, and it's 100% going to save you time. So how does Social Autopilot work, and how does it make you money? Social Autopilot is a really, really great way for let's take a step back here. When it comes to social media and you have a new product or you have a new blog post, what's the first thing that you're probably going to do after you put it on your product page? You're going to tell people about that. How are you going to do that? You're going to post that to your social media. If you're constantly releasing new products or writing blog posts and you're constantly having to post about social media, that's taking a lot of time away from your schedule. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a way that you could post about your new products and you could post about your new blog posts automatically, and you could change the message every single time, and you could post about it when you want on your schedule so it doesn't look like it's coming out all at the same time? Bingo, bango, bogo. That's exactly what Social Autopilot does. How does it work? Anytime that you have a new product or a new blog post that's being posted, you simply go into the Social Autopilot app. You curate the message yourself, so you can you can schedule it out whenever you want. You can change the messaging so it's not always the same. Hey, even if it's the same product, you can have a couple different messages, which it's a really great thing that you can do with your blog posts or with your products. If you have one message, you can have 4 different types of messages. Check out this new product. Hey, have you heard about this new product? This product will save you so much time. All of our customers are talking about this product. That's just 4 different ways that you can tweet about the same thing, the same product, or the same blog post. So what it's going to do, it's going to save you time. It's going to allow for you to get your message out there. It's going to allow for you to stay on top of your social game. So let's say you're using Social Autopilot just to promote your products and your blog posts. Rather than taking the time out of your day to do that, you can then go and you can talk to your fans and you can engage with them. That's a really, really great way for people to save time and make a little bit more money using Twitter that way. So that's it. Those are really the 4 main ways that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. For those of you who are just tuning in, what we've talked about today: how to grow your Twitter lists, how to grow your audience, how to use Twitter chats, how to take one idea, the idea of having a Twitter chat, and repurpose that using your email, using your social media, using a blog post, writing that blog post, then promoting that on social media. Twitter is just so versatile. It's where people go to find out what people are talking about. It's where you can go find out what your customers are talking about. And it's a really great way for you to promote your products and to show people who you are, what you sell, and who you are at your core. So that being said, we blazed through this one. Twitter, we could go on all day about it. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know by posting those in the comment sections. For those of you who are not tuning in now, but I'm talking to you from the future, because whenever these are done recording, we repurpose these, we create a blog post, and then we repost those on our own social media, just like we've talked about today. Check it out. Ask me some questions if you want to know. Happy to answer anything. Bold School of Commerce, for those of you who don't know, happens every 2 weeks, every second Thursday of the month at 1 p.m. Central Time. Make sure to tune in what we've got coming up. The Unite wrap-up. We're going out to Unite. We want to tell you all about it, what went down, what we heard about, talk to the people that were actually there. Later after that, we're going to try something. We're really not too sure how it's going to work out yet, but it's an AUA, and Ask Us Anything. Those are really popular on Reddit, popular on Twitter. We'll see what happens. If there's stuff that you just want to know about commerce, e-commerce, Bold School of Commerce, said commerce like 3 times there, so maybe subconsciously you'll just ask a question about that. That's what we want to know. We want to find out what you guys want to hear about too. I mentioned this last time. I'll mention it once again. For those of you who are watching this and stuck with us to the end, thank you very much. We're going to be sending out a survey out maybe later, maybe next week, not maybe later, for sure later, asking you about School of Commerce. Is this the stuff that you want to see? Is it helpful? What are we not talking about? What could make it more helpful? Is there a better time that you want to see this? How can we help you more? That's all this is. That's all we want to do with School of Commerce. We want to tell you what we know. That way you can take these lessons and you can incorporate that into your own businesses, into your own e-commerce store, into your everyday life, just to be better, to do better, and just to empower yourself as an entrepreneur. That being said, that's everything I had today. This has been 4 ways that you can grow your Twitter following on School of Commerce.